All right, welcome back, everyone. We're diving into all those goal-setting resources you sent over.
Yeah, articles, tips, all that good stuff.
Even a research paper. Looks like you guys are serious about making 2024 your year.
Yeah, you've given us a mission here.
Operation Make 2024 My Year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're finding the strategies that really work.
Not just the motivational fluff, right?
Exactly. And it's interesting because all these sources,
Yeah.
they emphasize, different aspects of goal setting,
Okay.
but they all converge on some really core principles.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
First thing that jumps out at me. Every single source mentions SMART goals.
Yes.
Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound.
Right.
I get the idea.
Yeah.
It feels a little overused, honestly, like buzzword.
Yeah.
Is it really that crucial?
Well, it's fascinating because it's not just a catchy acronym.
Okay.
It's backed by solid research. Goal setting theory, which we can dive into later,
Yeah.
actually shows that setting goals that are SMART significantly boosts performance.
Okay.
Think about it. If your goal is vague, like be healthier.
Right.
How does your brain even know where to start?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
It's like your brain needs a clear target to lock onto.
Absolutely.
So how does making a goal SMART actually help?
Sure.
Can you give me an example?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Take that example from one of the articles about, wanting to become a leader on your soccer team
Right.
instead of just be a leader.
Okay.
A SMART goal would be become team captain by the end of next season.
Okay.
So it's specific, it's measurable, it has a deadline,
Right.
it's relevant to your passion, and suddenly it becomes a rate map.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
It goes from this vague idea to something concrete,
Yeah.
something you can actually work towards.
Yeah.
And speaking of working towards something, all these sources also talk about
Yes.
the importance of action planning.
Yes.
Is that where this goal ladder thing comes in?
Yeah.
I saw that visualization in one of the articles, and I really resonated with it.
The goal ladder is a great way to think about it.
Okay.
You're breaking down those big, potentially intimidating goals
Right.
into smaller, more manageable steps.
Yeah.
Each step, or rung on the ladder, gets you closer to the top.
I like that. But let's be honest.
Sure.
Even with a great plan,
Yeah.
sometimes we struggle with those pesky habits, right?
Absolutely.
Procrastination, distractions, all that stuff.
Yeah.
These things can really derail our progress.
Mm-hmm.
One source went deep on this whole habits and discipline thing.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like they were reading my mind.
It's fascinating how self-discipline is often the missing link.
Totally.
You have the desire,
Yeah.
you have the plan,
Uh-huh.
but if you can't consistently take action,
Right.
it all falls apart.
Exactly. And that article had some great tips,
Okay.
like becoming aware of your triggers,
Yes.
what sets you off on that procrastination spiral.
Mm-hmm.
I also loved the idea of swapping a bad habit for a good one.
Oh, interesting.
Like, instead of scrolling social media before bed,
Yeah,
read a few pages of a book.
that's a great idea.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I...
It's about rewiring those neural pathways,
Yeah,
literally retraining your brain.
right. Okay.
And one point that really struck me was the power of to-do lists.
Okay.
The simple act of checking things off,
Yeah.
even small things,
Uh-huh.
releases dopamine,
Oh, interesting.
which reinforces that sense of accomplishment and fuels motivation.
It's like those mini rewards to keep you going.
Exactly.
So we've got the SMART goals.
Yep.
We've got the action plan.
Mhm.
We're tackling those bad habits.
Yeah,
But what about when things get tough?
right.
Life inevitably throws curveballs our way.
Of course. Yeah.
How do we deal with those setbacks and stay motivated?
That's where two key themes emerge from the sources.
Okay.
Anticipating obstacles and finding inspiration.
Okay.
We need both.
All right.
A healthy dose of realism
All right.
and a powerful why to keep you going.
So don't just bury your head in the sand and pretend everything will be perfect.
Right, exactly.
But don't get bogged down by negativity either.
Yeah,
There was that great tip about brainstorming all the possible obstacles
yeah,
and then categorizing them.
yes.
Things you can control, things you can influence, and things you just have to accept.
It's about managing expectations.
Okay.
If you go in thinking everything will be smooth sailing,
Yeah.
the first roadblock could be devastating.
Right.
But if you've already anticipated some challenges,
Yeah.
you can have a plan B ready.
Right. It's about being prepared, but not letting fear paralyze you.
Exactly.
And what about the inspiration part?
Yeah.
How do we stay motivated when things get tough?
Remembering your why is essential.
Okay.
Why did you set this goal in the first place?
Yeah.
How will achieving it make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
One source highlighted the power of visualization.
Okay.
Actually picturing yourself having achieved the goal
Right.
and feeling that sense of
Yeah.
accomplishment.
It's almost like a mental trick to keep yourself going.
It can be, yeah.
And I know from personal experience,
Yeah.
having someone to share your goals with for accountability
Absolutely.
can be a game changer.
Huge.
Even just writing them down makes a difference.
One source had research showing that people who write down their goals
Oh, wow.
are significantly more likely to achieve them.
Really?
And sharing them with someone who supports you,
Yeah.
a friend, a mentor, even an online community,
Right.
adds a layer of accountability.
Okay.
It's harder to back out when someone else is cheering you on.
That's so true. I've noticed that myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've covered the SMART goals, the action plans, the habits, and this whole obstacle inspiration balancing act.
Yes.
Is there anything else we should add to our goal-crushing toolkit?
There are a couple of other strategies that caught my eye.
Okay.
One source emphasized choosing goals that are genuinely inspiring and motivating to you.
Okay.
They even talked about the importance of challenge. The idea that goals should stretch you outside of your comfort zone.
Because if it's not exciting, why bother? Right?
Exactly.
It has to be something that truly matters to you, something that aligns with your values and vision for your life.
Precise.
And then there was this whole section on the PACT method.
Yes.
Purposeful, actionable, continuous, and trackable.
Love that one.
They presented it as a particularly powerful framework for long-term goals.
It is.
So not just those quick wins,
Right.
but the goals that might take months, years, even a lifetime to achieve.
Exactly.
Tell me more about this PACT method. It sounds intriguing.
What I found fascinating is that PACT emphasizes continuous progress
Okay.
and experimentation.
Okay.
It acknowledges that mistakes are part of the journey
Right.
and encourages you to adapt along the way.
Yeah.
It's about finding what works best for you,
Okay.
not following a rigid formula.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a refreshing perspective.
Yeah.
I like the idea of embracing the learning process, even if it means
Absolutely.
making mistakes along the way.
Totally.
Okay, so far we've got SMART goals, action plans, habit building, obstacle anticipation, inspiration seeking, tracking progress,
Yep.
choosing inspiring goals, and the PACT method.
It's a lot.
I'm feeling pretty well equipped.
But it's
Anything else before we move on?
There's one more crucial element that all the sources touched on.
Okay.
The importance of evaluation.
Okay.
Regularly checking in on your progress and reflecting on what's working and what isn't
Yeah.
is key to continuous improvement.
That makes sense. It's like, how can you improve if you're not paying attention
Exactly.
to the results?
Right.
And it ties back to that self-awareness we talked about earlier.
Exactly. Each time you set a goal and work toward it,
Yeah.
you learn something about yourself,
Uh-huh.
your strengths, your weaknesses, what motivates you, what throws you off track.
Yeah.
It's a process of ongoing self-discovery.
Okay, so we've laid a really solid foundation here.
We have.
From SMART goals and action plans to the nuances of the PACT method
It's a lot.
and the power of self-reflection, this is an awesome toolkit.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
I'm excited to see what else is in store.
Me too. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground
We have.
in terms of like
Yeah.
general goal-setting strategies.
The general strategies, yeah.
But I'm curious to see what these sources say about setting goals in different areas of life, right?
Right.
You mentioned you're looking for strategies to level up both your work life and your personal life.
Yes.
So
Let's dive in.
let's start with those career aspirations.
Okay, great point.
Okay.
When it comes to professional goals,
Yeah.
the sources really emphasize the importance of context.
Okay.
It's not enough to just set any goal.
Right.
It needs to align with your company's overall mission
Okay.
and your role within the team.
Makes sense. You don't want to be off on your own tangent.
Right, exactly.
Well, everyone else is rowing in a different direction.
Exactly.
But how do you figure out what goals are truly aligned
Yeah.
with the bigger picture?
One source suggested having a frank conversation with your manager
Okay.
or a supervisor.
Yeah.
It's about understanding their expectations,
Okay.
identifying areas where you can contribute the most,
Right.
and getting their buy-in on your goals.
Oh, that's so important. I've seen situations where people were
Yes.
working incredibly hard, but not necessarily on the things that
Why?
mattered most to their boss.
Yeah.
Talk about a recipe for frustration
Absolutely, yeah. Alignment and communication are key.
on both sides.
And once you have that clarity,
Okay.
the sources dive into specific types of professional goals
Okay.
that tend to be common and effective.
Like what? Give me the rundown.
Well, one recurring theme was skill development.
Okay.
identifying areas where you want to grow,
Mm-hmm.
and creating a plan to gain those skills.
Okay.
That could be anything from learning a new software program to taking a leadership course
Uh-huh.
to becoming proficient in a new language.
That's so relevant in today's world, right?
Absolutely.
Where everything is constantly changing.
Yeah.
You need to be constantly learning and evolving to stay ahead of the curve.
It's true.
I feel like I'm always playing catch up.
Right.
And here's where those foundational principles we discussed earlier come into play.
Exactly.
So if your goal is to develop a new skill, you can use the SMART framework to make it specific and actionable.
Exactly.
For instance, instead of saying, I want to learn data analysis,
Right.
a SMART goal would be become proficient in data analysis.
I love it.
Using Python by completing an online course within the next 6 months.
There you go. That's perfect.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's not this vague idea.
Right.
It's a concrete plan
It's actionable.
with a timeline and measurable outcome.
Exactly.
And you could even break that down further with an action plan. Setting aside a specific time each week for the course, finding a study buddy for accountability,
Yes. Love it.
that kind of thing.
And what's fascinating is that this ties into another theme that emerged,
Okay.
seeking out mentorship.
Oh, yeah.
Having someone more experienced to guide you,
Right.
offer advice, and provide feedback
Mm-hmm.
can be invaluable
I agree.
for skill development and career growth.
Mentorship is something I'm a huge advocate for,
Good.
but it can feel intimidating to just go up to someone
Sure.
and ask them to be your mentor.
Yeah.
Did the sources have any tips on how to approach finding a mentor?
One source emphasized being proactive
Okay.
and intentional about it.
Okay.
Identify people you admire,
Yeah.
whether within your company or in your field more broadly,
Mm-hmm.
and reach out to them.
Okay.
Even if it feels a bit awkward at first,
Right.
you'd be surprised how many people are willing to help someone
Yeah.
who's genuinely eager to learn.
And it doesn't have to be this formal, structured thing.
No, not at all.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be as simple as having coffee with someone you admire and picking their brain.
Yeah, love that.
Or connecting with someone on LinkedIn
Uh-huh.
and asking for advice on a specific challenge you're facing.
Exactly. It's about building relationships.
Yeah.
And learning from the experiences of others.
And speaking of relationships,
Yeah.
networking was another big theme
Big time.
when it came to professional goals.
Huge.
Attending industry events,
Yep.
joining professional organizations, even just being more active on LinkedIn.
Yes.
It's all about expanding your circle and creating
opportunities.
for collaboration.
It's funny how it all comes back to those human connections.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You never know where your next opportunity will come from
You really don't.
or who might be able to open a door for you.
Exactly.
Precisely. And this all leads us to perhaps the most classic professional goal of all.
Right.
Getting a promotion.
The coveted promotion. I think it's safe to say that most people are aiming for some kind of upward movement in their careers.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
It often represents increased responsibility, new challenges,
Right.
and of course, greater financial rewards.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how do you actually make that promotion happen?
Right.
It's not just about wanting it.
Right. You got to demonstrate that you're ready for that next level.
Okay, so what did the sources suggest?
They emphasize the importance of exceeding expectations in your current role,
Okay.
consistently going above and beyond what's required,
Right.
taking on additional responsibilities, showing initiative, and demonstrating leadership qualities.
Yeah, okay.
These are all ways to signal to your boss that you're ready for more.
It's about proving your worth.
It is.
You're not just waiting to be noticed, right?
Exactly. And here again,
Yeah.
those core principles we talked about earlier can be applied.
Okay.
If your goal is to get promoted,
Right.
make
Yeah.
it SMART. Instead of just saying, I want to get promoted,
Right.
a SMART goal would be get promoted to senior marketing manager within the next 18 months.
Okay.
Then you can create an action plan
Yeah.
outlining the specific steps you need to take to achieve that goal.
It's like building a roadmap to success, right?
It is.
Identify the skills you need to develop,
Yeah.
the projects you can take on to showcase your abilities,
Huh.
the relationships you can cultivate
Yes.
to gain support and visibility.
Love it.
It's all about being strategic and focused.
And remember, even with the best plans,
Yeah.
obstacles are inevitable.
Right.
There might be internal competition, budget constraints,
Yeah.
unexpected changes in the company
All right.
that impact your promotion timeline.
Totally.
But by anticipating those challenges and having a plan B,
Okay.
you'll be much better equipped to navigate them.
I love that you brought that up.
Yeah.
It's so important to have that resilience and flexibility. Now, we've talked a lot about those professional goals,
Yes.
those external achievements.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those personal goals?
Right.
The things that bring us joy and fulfillment outside of work.
Yes.
That's where it gets really interesting for me.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is how the sources shifted their tone when talking about personal goals.
Okay.
They framed it less as achieving and more as becoming.
Okay.
It's about a journey of self-discovery and growth.
Yeah.
Aligning your actions with your values and aspirations.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's not just about checking things off a to-do list.
Right.
It's about becoming the best version of ourselves.
Exactly. And the sources highlighted a wide range of personal goals.
Okay.
From improving physical health and mental well-being to nurturing relationships, pursuing creative passions, even traveling the world.
Wow.
The possibilities are endless.
It makes you think, what does my ideal life look like?
Right.
And then, how can I set goals that align with that vision?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the same principles apply.
Okay.
Even if the goals themselves are more personal and subjective, you can use the SMART framework to make them specific and measurable.
Okay.
Run a half marathon by the end of the year.
Right.
Learn to play the guitar by taking weekly lessons for the next 6 months. Travel to 3 new countries next year.
And you can break those goals down into smaller steps.
Yes.
Create action plans. Find accountability partners.
Absolutely.
And celebrate those mini victories along the way.
Love it.
Just like with professional goals.
One source offered a really interesting perspective on personal goals.
Okay.
They said it's not just about what you want to achieve, but how you want to feel.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
So it's not just about running that half marathon.
Right.
It's about feeling strong, healthy, and accomplished.
Exactly.
Or it's not just about learning to play guitar.
Yeah.
It's about experiencing the joy of creating music.
Yes.
And expressing myself creatively.
It's about aligning your goals with your values.
Okay.
If you value creativity, you might set goals related to writing, painting, or learning a new art form.
Right.
If you value connection, you might prioritize spending quality time with loved ones.
Okay.
Or volunteering in your community.
It's about figuring out what truly lights you up inside.
Yes.
And then creating a life that reflects those values.
Exactly. But here's the thing.
Okay.
Sometimes, even with the best intentions and the most perfectly crafted plans, we hit a snag.
Yeah.
Life happens.
It does.
Motivation dips.
Yeah.
Obstacles pop up out of nowhere.
Happens all the time.
How do we deal with those inevitable setbacks?
Right.
And stay on track?
Yeah. How do we deal with that?
That's where we move from the initial excitement of setting goals to the real work of perseverance. It's about developing those qualities that help us navigate challenges and stay committed to our vision, even when things get tough.
All right, let's dive into that.
Okay.
I'm ready to learn how to become a goal-crushing machine.
I love it.
Okay, so we've talked about setting SMART goals.
Yes.
Crafting those action plans, finding that deep-seated inspiration, really the whole goal-setting shebang, right?
The whole shebang.
But what happens when life, as it so often does, throws a wrench in the gears?
Yeah, those inevitable setbacks.
When those inevitable setbacks.
And dips in motivation.
Yeah, come knocking. How do we deal with that?
That's where the rubber meets the road. Right?
Okay.
It's not about avoiding setbacks.
Right.
Because let's face it, that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
It's about how we respond to them.
Okay.
What I found really interesting is that all the sources we dug into highlighted 3 key qualities for navigating these challenges.
Okay.
Resilience, self-compassion, and grit.
I'm intrigued. Okay, resilience makes me think of bouncing back from a tough situation. But what does that actually look like in practice, especially when it comes to pursuing goals?
One source described it as the ability to adapt and keep moving forward, even when faced with those inevitable curveballs.
Right.
They even gave a specific tip that really resonated with me.
Okay.
Viewing setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities for learning and growth.
Okay, that's a powerful mindset shift.
It is.
So instead of letting a setback derail you completely, you try to extract a lesson from it.
Yeah.
Adjust your approach and keep moving forward.
Exactly.
It's like turning those stumbling blocks into stepping stones.
I love that.
And that ties into the second quality.
Yes.
Self-compassion.
Right.
Another source stressed the importance of being kind to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Especially when we're struggling or feeling discouraged.
That's so important.
We're all human.
We're
going to make mistakes.
It's going to happen.
And that's okay.
It's part of the process.
I think that's something a lot of us need to hear, myself included. It's so easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah, it is.
Of self-criticism.
Totally.
Especially when we fall short of our own expectations.
Right.
But beating ourselves up isn't exactly going to boost our motivation, is it?
Absolutely not.
Oh, no.
It's about recognizing that setbacks are a natural part of the process.
Right.
We need to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding
we
would offer a friend going through a similar challenge.
It's about being our own best cheerleader.
It is.
Even, or maybe especially when we stumble.
I love that.
Okay, now you also mentioned grit as a key quality.
Right.
That one sounds like it requires digging deep and pushing through.
It does.
Even when things get tough.
Yeah.
How do we cultivate that kind of inner strength?
One source defined grit as that potent combination of passion and perseverance. That relentless drive that keeps you going, even when you feel like giving up.
Oh, okay.
They even likened it to a muscle.
Oh, interesting.
The more you use it, the stronger it becomes.
I like that analogy. So how do we actually work out our grit muscle?
It's a great question.
Are there specific exercises we can do to build that kind of mental toughness?
Interestingly, many sources recommended mindfulness meditation as a powerful tool for building resilience, self-compassion, and grit.
So how does that work?
It's about learning to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, especially during challenging times. You notice those negative thoughts creeping in, but instead of getting swept away by them, you choose to focus on more positive and empowering ones.
Okay, so it's about cultivating that inner awareness.
It is.
And then using that awareness to shift our perspective.
Exactly.
Even when things feel overwhelming. Almost like training your mind to focus on the possibilities.
Right.
Not the problems.
Precisely. And another practical tip that came up was the importance of building a supportive community around yourself. Surrounding yourself with people who encourage you, believe in you, and celebrate your successes can make all the difference when you're facing setbacks.
It's like having your own personal cheering squad.
It is.
And sometimes just having someone to talk to, someone who understands what you're going through, can help you regain that sense of perspective.
For sure.
And motivation.
Exactly. And remember, even though setbacks are inevitable, they don't have to define you. They can be opportunities for growth, learning, and even greater resilience if we approach them with the right mindset.
So it's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns and trusting that even those difficult moments can teach us valuable lessons.
Absolutely.
And make us stronger.
Beautifully said. And I think that's a perfect note to wrap up this deep dive. We've explored so much.
We have.
From the fundamentals of goal setting to the power of resilience, self-compassion, and grit.
Yeah, it's been a truly inspiring journey.
It has.
I feel completely energized and ready to tackle 2024.
I love it.
With a renewed sense of purpose. I hope our listeners are feeling the same way.
And remember, as you embark on your own goal-setting adventures, stay curious, stay committed, and most importantly, stay true to yourself.
Yes.
Your goals are your unique path to creating a life you love.
That's right. We've equipped you with the tools.
We have.
Now it's time to go out there and create some magic.
Yes, go make it happen.
Thanks for joining us on this epic goal-setting deep dive.
Thank you.
And until next time, happy goal crushing.
Happy goal crushing.